Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Morning Motivational Rant. I am your host, Dean the Genetic Marvel. With me, as always, my co-host, Crystal Morency. Good morning, Crystal. How are you today?
I don't know if I can handle this anymore, this start of it, the way it is. Good morning, Crystal, and how are you today? It sounds more and more aggressive
I should point,
as we go on with the days.
You doing today? How are you? I think that's fair.
That's what it kind of like seems like. It gets more and more aggressive as these days progress.
That sounds about right.
I'm gonna just leave it alone though and let him be mad with his bad self.
I'm not mad at all. I'm just living the dream.
He's so peachy.
I'm living the
dream.
It's what I do.
Living the dream, stressing himself out.
Absolutely.
He's gonna give himself a fucking heart attack.
Third, whatever.
And then Crystal's gonna be the co-host of somebody else's morning motivational rant. Victoria's morning motivational rant.
How did I just get fired from my own show? That doesn't...
No, you just had a heart attack because you just gave yourself a heart attack.
That's not...
Good morning, Nina.
I'm getting fired.
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Until I got fired from my own show. That's useful. Yeah, no, I'm good. So last night somebody posted a tweet that said replace the first 4 letters of all your names with fuck, and then people started commenting. So I'm like, I would be fucksis, and I'm like, that's a great name. So I put it on Instagram, and people were like, definitely. And then a friend, he got his name is he's a white guy. His name is a very white guy name. It's very, and he was like, my new name is Fuckley. And I'm like, how did you get whiter with replacing with fuck? I'm like, Fuckley? Are you kidding me? That's fantastic. This is all on...
I'm fuck NC.
You're fuckle fence.
Mine sounds
You're
fancy.
You're fuckle fucking C. That is quite fancy.
I'm fuckle fucking C.
I'm fuckle fucking C. Oh, how are you? I'm
fuckle fucking C.
And you are fuckle fucking C of the fucking C's of Germany. We are a long family line.
It's not German.
Why not?
It's not German.
One guy, an Italian friend of mine, who's been a great supporter of the show and everything,
Thank you.
He replaced his, and essentially every one of his names ended with like an Ito or an S. So he's like, apparently now I'm Japanese. This is bullshit. I'm like, dude, it looked Japanese. I was like, it was incredible. I'm like, this is fantastic. It looked so good.
Fuckito.
That was his first name, was Fakito. I'm not joking.
That's awesome.
It was so good. And then after that, so this is what happened. Okay, so when we used to go out for dinner, in those times gone by, I went to Once Upon a Time before the writings took place. I don't know.
This will be in our Bible.
Yeah. I would go to this place called Pan on the Danforth, and now it's moved. It's now called Sula's. It's only a few doors down, but it's a fantastic restaurant. Essentially, what happens is there's no such thing as fine dining in Greek culture. It's kind of eat and fuck off, right? And that's why it's like dinner time is usually like at like 9, 10 o'clock. And that's like a 3-hour thing where you just sit, you drink, you eat, you talk. Like it's an event, And I love about my culture, because it's so, you just feel good, It's an culture, like in Greek culture, the majority of Greece, it gets too hot in the afternoon, especially during the summertime, to work. It's too hot, you'll die. So like, it's an environment and a culture that encourages like that afternoon siesta, breaking up your day, and it's fantastic, because I enjoy it thoroughly. But one of the things is this place, Sula's, it has the best mixture of fine dining and traditional Greek cuisine that I've ever had in Canada.
Oh. Sula's?
Yeah. So now the best part is that like they'll have wine pairing, like they go the full 9 yards, but the food still tastes like Greek food should. Now one of the things I don't like to eat lamb in general because it always tastes gamey. Because if you cook it right, like my mom cooks it, like Sula's cooks it, it is not gamey at all. Okay, and it's delicious. Now Victoria made me a dish yesterday, and it was kind of like a version of the meal I get at Sula's, but with like just like normal, instead of lamb, it had beef and stuff. But it was fucking delicious. Each thing was and the whole thing, this meal that I get, it's char grilled loin of lamb at Sula's. Is essentially each component is tasty, but when you combine them all, it kind of creates this symphony in your mouth. It's very delicious, and it's not a big meal, but it's very enjoyable. It's very fulfilling. And after it, because it has a lot of mashed potatoes in it too, you feel content and satisfied. It's a beautiful thing. And that's the hard part, like with big meals, is you'll eat and still not be satisfied. Like you eat McDonald's and you're like, I'm still hungry for vitamins, you know? So, Victoria made this for me. And I was like, this is so good. Now, after that, because I was still high as fuck, I was like, I'm hungry. And she's like, well, how about a healthy snack instead of eating something bad? So I was like, how about some Breton crackers with Laughing Cow cheese on it? And she's like, okay, fine. How many? I said 6. It's great. Now, if you go to my, do you know the genetic...
6 laughing cows too?
Yeah. Okay? I am a man. Okay? So, anyways. No, it got worse. Trust me. And by worse, I mean awesomer. It definitely got awesomer. So I tweeted out, or I posted a picture on Instagram, I was like, what did my wife do? I'm like, we're sitting here, we're watching the John Wick trilogy last night. And, yeah, which was great. And I'm like, my wife surprised me, kind of. I'm like, so I took a picture of the plate, and I'm like, it's a circle topped with smaller circles, topped with triangles. I'm like, that is some wife shit, okay? And,
yeah, that is.
And then a buddy of mine is like, with a square napkin, I'm like, and the circles are shaped like a triangle. So, a ton of people commented on it. A ton of people liked it. A ton of people were like, you are treated like a king. And I'm like, I am a fucking king. That is some wife shit. And Victoria...
She made him a lord.
Victoria's comment is just a face palm. And I'm like, king life. I'm like, hashtag king life isn't possible without hashtag wife shit. Okay? And the funny thing is, she's like, how are you going to post the crackers and cheese I give you and not post the meal that I made for you? And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty true. Now, it got worse because what I in turn did was I asked her, because I was still very high and I wanted a snack, and they were so delicious. I was like, can I have some more? She's like, how many? I'm like, same. And then and then I posted again, and I'm like, what is it? It's Friday night? That's right. King life struck again, motherfuckers. Okay? I'm like, what is this? She gave me a circle topped with smaller circles shaped like a triangle, all topped with hashtag urban garlic triangles. That is some hardcore wife shit. She leveled up her wife shit. And people enjoyed that. People enjoyed that as well. So I was pretty happy.
I gotta start creeping people's